Andreas, nice to meet you. Finally.
How you guys doing?
He almost took your spot in the podcast. He's like, I got it.
Look,
Rob is
if you
not
see the
here. I
opener,
got
it
it.
was a good opener.
It was a great opening. You
You
know,
actually you actually open it. You opened the podcast that day. You remember? He's like, I got it,
And
bro.
I
Don't worry
didn't even
about it. I got
practice
it.
it, honestly,
yeah,
zero. And
yeah.
Tolis threw me under the bus immediately because he said, I got the beginning. And he said, well, Andreas is going to open the podcast.
Yeah, no. You're really good, bro. You're really good in talking. You're really good in
You're
talking.
a natural. It's a good job you were in Houston though. Otherwise, you would take
No,
my
no,
job.
no, no,
You'd be
no. You
here.
guys, you guys are at
If
it and it's nice.
It's the first time that we are using the how can I call that online podcast? How usually people call that, Robbie?
online podcast.
Online. That's how they
It's
call
still
it.
a
Okay, so I
podcast.
got it right. And
Zoom.
actually,
It's
yeah,
still
we
a
are. We are.
podcast.
What do you say?
Like, do they put it online or they just call it a podcast?
It's just a
No,
podcast.
it's a real podcast, but it's online. And actually, I feel that it's very helpful because we can
Yeah.
do a lot of those. We can do it like anytime, and we can do like, any announcement maybe you want to talk something about, or any news. Anyways, but because it's actually the first time that we are using it, I was making sure that first of all I was like, wait, is it recording? I swear is it recording? Okay, we're good. Let's start with this.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And,
yeah,
and just sorry, Tolis. Andreas, who yesterday he also thought that Houston time
I
was
know, I
behind us
understood.
as
I
well.
know. When we were texting, I'm like, something's not right.
you got a little bit. You can't really get messed with a fighter
I'm
that
not
is
losing
losing
weight yet.
weight.
So,
It's not a good thing to do. I was like, okay, tomorrow 6 with your time. He's like, bro, you go with my time or with your time? I was like, calm down.
So what time was it meant to be today?
What do you say?
What time was it meant to be today? This.
No, it was meant to be.
this time.
I just messed up the times. I messed up the times. Anyways, we figured it out. How you doing, brother? You look a little bit skinnier. Are you already on the weight? You got the
I
weight
still got
already?
11 to go. But I'm water loading. I'm
11.
loading
Wait.
now. I'm
Oh,
in the
wait.
loading phase. I'm gonna cut sodium on Sunday. And from Monday, I'm gonna start deloading the water.
So you follow a very specific diet, right?
Yeah.
You have a nutritionist, and so everything has to be by the book. So at the time that you go to the weigh-in, you are exactly on the weight, and you're not like exhausted. You are like
I
you
mean,
cut it very smooth
the
the
day of
weight.
the weigh-ins, you feel a little drained and everything else, but the good thing is that you only feel like that the day of the weigh-ins, not the day of the the hours of the weigh-ins, and in the next 3 hours you are back to normal. I mean, I've done it with this nutritionist, Megan Murphy, for the last fight too, bro. Like, I can't recommend her enough. She's amazing.
Can I
Tolis,
ask you something? Yeah,
Tolis,
go
just
for it. Robbie.
tell the listeners, explain Andreas's fight coming up and where he is exactly.
I think Andreas can explain that better. He's in like, can you
Yeah,
say that?
so
I know
it's
you'll say better
part
than
of
me.
overtime boxing. They're doing an 8-man tournament. They started the first shows a few months ago that were the quarterfinals, and the winners we're fighting right now, August 30th in Atlanta in OTE Arena on the semifinals. It's gonna be televised live on DAZN. It's gonna be live on DAZN's YouTube channel, and if I'm not mistaken, on Instagram and TikTok live of Overtime Boxing. So those are the semifinals. The winners of those go to the next round, which is gonna be by the end of this year. The winner takes a good a good bonus, plus a contract with overtime, and a mandatory spot for the WBC Silver Championship.
So that takes you immediately when you will win the tournament in top 10.
If you win the tournament, I would say more like top five, even closer to the top three, to be honest. Yeah,
Top 5.
that's
Wow.
what I'm imagining. Because if you're mandatory for the silver, the WBC silver basically puts you in the number two spot, so you get to be around there.
So
Oh
you
yeah,
are almost
they're
there.
knocking on the door.
That that's like sorry, that's like do you remember the Super Six
Yeah,
tournaments back in the day?
I think it's exactly
Super
what they had in
Andre
mind when they
Wall
did that.
completed that, right?
It's
Those are
amazing.
great, man. Like if if you get the organization right and you get the, everyone like people don't drop out with injuries and stuff like that, then
I
it's such a
completely
great
agree, and I would
idea.
love to see them doing it in the future, like next year, or like I don't know, if they make something like every year we're gonna be doing a division or a couple divisions, that would be amazing. Because honestly, it gives the ability for fighters and for big prospects and contenders to get good quality fights with good pace very easily, because basically you sign a contract which says that I'm gonna fight whoever in this tournament. Like, if my opponent for this fight he gets injured or something happens, I don't have a say on my opponent. They can throw whoever they want, and it's the only way to make real good fights. It's the only way. There's no other way.
That's a good thing for the fighter also, because he doesn't have to wait for 10
Exactly.
years to get in the
Exactly.
to fight for the belt. Now you win the tournament,
Yeah.
you already there. How
Who's
was the
who's
preparation,
Great.
Andreas?
I had a great camp as always. You know me, I'm training very hard from the beginning to the end. Nothing changed in terms of my preparation other than the fact that we're working on a different opponent. Uh, no injuries, so everything is good. You're gonna see me at my 100%
When did you stop
this week.
sparring? Was it
This week,
the previous week?
yesterday.
Or
Yesterday was my last day.
also yesterday
Yeah.
was the last session of sparring? And can you walk us through a little bit the last week of your fight? What is the training schedule? Like, what do you
Last
do when
week,
you go in
basically,
the
you just
gym?
go through the motion, and you just want to sweat, go through the motion. You don't really want to get tired. At least that's what I do. For particularly with overtime, Fridays we're fighting, so Tuesdays usually we're flying. We have our media day on Tuesday when we get there. Wednesday they give the whole day to the fighters, so they can cut weight or do what they have to do. Thursday morning we have the official weigh-ins and then the ceremonial weigh-ins a couple hours later. And Friday night it's a fight night.
So it's mostly the focus is mostly on cutting the weight and being as
I
much
would say so. I
relaxed
would
as
say so.
possible. And
how long have you been in
For
camp
that
for?
fight, I've been training for this fight 10 weeks, but 8 weeks I would say I'm in camp. 8 weeks are very hard weeks. 2 weeks prior to that were hard as well, but not, not try to pick myself or anything close to that. And 2 weeks prior to that, just general fight, general boxing. I mean, my last fight was 13 weeks away, so I didn't even have enough time to relax and rest too much. And for my next fight, probably it's gonna be the same thing.
Okay.
I have a question, Andreas. Uh, Usually you guys fight, no, usually, always you guys
Yeah,
fight nighttime, right? Like
even
8,
late
9.
night.
How a fighter can adjust since your daily training is usually in the morning? How can you be in your best when you fight in a different
Uh,
time? Do you have to do specific things
Look,
that day?
I've thought about it in the past, like if you have to change your training schedule or something like that. I wouldn't say you have to. Like I never felt that I wasn't on, during the fight or during the night. Yes, I've had nights, fight nights, that I was feeling a little sleepy getting to the arena or like waiting in the locker rooms. But I feel like once you start getting ready for the fight and everything else, you forget about the sleep, you forget about everything, and you're ready to go.
They start putting you your hand drops, or when you start walking
No, no, no. I
inside,
mean,
then
shoot,
you
you
start
have to you
having the
have to be awake
adrenaline
for
and
the
you start
warm up
waking
too.
up.
So, I guess after the hand wraps, you're
Okay,
you're good to go. What I
okay.
do is during the
And
week of the fight, I try to sleep a little later because I'm sleeping pretty early, like around 10 o'clock. Usually we're out, so I'm trying to go to bed like 11, 12. So I have those a couple extra hours in terms. Yes, if we
a
go
little
if
bit
we go
later.
later for the fight.
And what time do you eat usually?
My
Your
last
last
meal I
meal
try to
before the
have it
fight?
probably depends on when I'm gonna fight too, but usually before I leave for the arena. And I'm grabbing with me like a snack, a fast snack like a couple bananas or something like that.
All right, give us a little bit prediction for the fight. What round?
I don't know if I can pick.
I want to ask you. I actually want to ask you the punch
Yeah, I
also.
don't know
With
if I
what
can pick a
punch?
round. I'm definitely not gonna pick a punch, but I, I'm gonna tell you after the show about what punches are gonna land better.
Okay,
But I think
okay.
I
So you
think
have in your mind
you're
something.
in the middle of the fight. That's where we see it heading.
I'm sorry, is
It's
it
a 10
eight or
rounder.
10 rounds?
I don't think it's
10 rounds.
gonna go later. If it goes later, I don't have a problem. I'm at my best at the later rounds, but I think it will go during the middle of the fight.
Round
Five,
6?
6, 7, who
Let's say
knows?
round 6, 5, 6. Who you think is the best in 154 at the moment
That's a tough question. That's a tough
of the
question. I
top
mean,
guys?
Crawford arguably is the best since he moved up because Crawford is, if not the best pound for pound, he's top three. Uh, but Madrimov did great work against of him, and he showed that Crawford didn't carry his power to 54 as he did at 47. Ortiz versus Bohacuk the other day was an amazing fight. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was a war. That was an amazing fight.
That
I
was a great
respect both
fight,
of these
yes.
guys. I think 54 right now is stacked. Like there is no other division like 154 right now.
What did you think about the fight of Crawford and Madrimov? Honestly, personally, I know they might call me casual, but I thought that it was a little bit boring as a fight. Like they didn't really engage.
I mean, we've all seen way better fights than this one. Yes, it
Uh-huh.
was tactical, and the fact that they both have power and they can counter and stuff. It feels like it has you on the edge of your seat because anything can happen at any moment. But they could have engaged way more and could have given us a better show. But I understand that Madrimov was sticking to his game plan, which was actually a very good game plan. And Crawford somehow had to figure out what to do, how to counter punch and everything else while being careful not to get hit with the other guy's awkward style. So I can see it going this way.
Was the style Olympiacos,
Yeah,
right? The Soviet style, like a lot of like
yeah,
feints, a lot of up and down. So he kept Crawford all the time
definitely,
like alert.
definitely. He was on his toes 12 rounds.
Okay, so who's gonna be who is in your mind in one of those top guys that you want
At
to fight
54,
immediately?
I mean anyone, honestly, anyone. I think with four guys, with Ortiz, Bohacuk, Fundora, and Tim Zhu, all those four guys, I think would give amazing fights for the fans. Those would be crazy fights because all of our styles are pretty similar, action-packed styles. Then you have, I don't know what Spence is doing. He said he's going to come up to 54, but he doesn't seem like he's coming back. Jermel said he's coming back. I mean, Crawford's always Crawford. He's a legend, and anytime you get to share a ring with him and have him on your resume, that's an amazing fight to make. I mean, anybody right now, to be honest. Stacked division, as I said.
I can
Who's
see you fighting
Look,
Crawford. Berlanga is
what?
fighting Canelo. Berlanga is fighting Canelo, which is young too. I'm saying I can see you
Yeah,
fighting Crawford
yeah.
based on
So
the
I
age.
mean,
Like it can
I don't
happen
want to
like
be
in
a
the next
hate.
2 years. Because Crawford looks like he's not done. He has like two,
He
three more
does.
years
He
easy.
does. I don't want to be a hater. I like that they give the chance to a young guy against Canelo, but no, that's not it. I think Berlanga is going down.
Andreas? Who's in the other
The other
semi-final?
semi-final is Brandon Adams versus Veron. Uh, that's going to be a good fight. That's going to be a very good fight. If you ask me who I have winning, I feel like Adams, with his experience and everything else, he's going to get away with a win. But he has a tough challenge ahead of him. Veron is a very active guy, kind of awkward guy too, taller, lengthier, and if he really takes advantage of his skill set, he might get the upset.
And who would you
I
like
would
to
prefer to
face?
face Adams. I
Ideally.
don't have a problem about either of them, but I would prefer to face Adams only for the fact that he has a bigger resume and he has a better career, and I think he's gonna be better for my resume. You know what I mean? Like winning Adams is gonna be better than winning Veron right now. That's what I think. Of course, if Veron beats Adams, Veron's gonna be equally as good on my resume. So I don't really care.
When are the
We
finals?
don't have a date yet. We know approximately, but I can't say because
Okay.
something might change.
Okay. And now your
Yes.
fight's in Atlanta, right?
I
Have you
fought
fought there
last
before?
August, my first overtime show.
Do you already have a Greek community
We do have. So
selling tickets like
yeah,
crazy,
man. I
like you did in
mean,
Houston? Actually, we haven't even spoke about that
It's
like
nice because
on the phone. I
Dimitri is
never
one of my
asked.
sponsors here, Nikos. He got me hooked up with Gus. He's another restaurateur in Atlanta who has Marietta Diner and a bunch of other
That's so
restaurants, which are all amazing. And he's Greek. He employs a ton of Greek people. He's an amazing guy, a family man, and he's really supporting me. And I think he bought a bunch of tickets, and we're gonna have a good crowd there.
So
We can't wait to see you, brother.
is the other semi-final around the same time? When
Excuse
is
me?
that? Do you know? When
It's the
is
same
the other
day. It's the
semi-final?
same day. It's gonna be on the same card.
Okay, perfect. I was going to say, yeah, who has longer to recover?
I think the
was
other
gonna
guy is gonna
ask.
have longer to
It's good
he's gonna have to have a longer recovery because I see their fight being harder than my fight. Not technically harder. My fight is as equally hard in terms of technicalities and difficulties, but I don't see my guy engaging in battle that much. So I don't think uh, my body is gonna need that much recovery after this fight. It's gonna need the recovery after the camp because the camp is basically what hurts your body, but not after the fight.
Andreas, quick question for my partner Robbie. Who's your favorite British fighter?
British fighter
Ever.
ever?
Look at this smile. Look at this smile.
Like Wales and everything else too.
Oh, I
I don't
know
know.
who you're going to go with now. Then, if
I
you
mean,
say
if I go
Wales,
with Wales too, I mean, I got to go with Calzaghe.
Yeah.
But if I go just UK, you have to give it at Lennox Lewis probably?
But we
Yeah.
spoke about that, right? We spoke about that, Robbie, that he's not 100% British. He's Canadian,
Yes.
Jamaican. But yeah, he fought. Yeah, but I see what you
But
mean. Like,
we do what the British do, and we just claim everyone to be British.
That's a good claim
Yeah.
though. Lennox
If
Lewis
they
is a
win
good, it's a
something,
good claim.
yeah,
Yeah,
we'll take
I
him.
would
We'll
do.
take him. Wales Calzaghe was amazing. Yeah, loved Joe Calzaghe. There's a new Welsh guy called
Yep.
Cordina.
He's fighting
Joe
Sakur Stevenson.
Cordina. You know him?
that's going to be a good fight.
It's gonna be a nice
That's going to
fight.
be a good fight.
So the
Good
big
challenge
What do you
for
guys think
Sakur
about
also.
Sakur signing with Matchroom?
Well, they were together at
Yes.
the fight, right? Eddie Hearn and Shakur. Nothing had been announced, but they were like holding hands. I think it's a great move. I mean, I'm a fan of Matchroom. I think they're
Yeah.
good to the fighters. So I think he'll take him up a gear now. Like get him a
I
slightly
agree.
more active, get him in more fights.
What do you think will change? It will change. He will start getting more difficult fights, or what it will change?
I think more fights, just like in general, just get him out there, get him more active. Like Shakur's obviously a star, but there's still room for him to become a bigger star. No? Do you agree?
Andreas, who you think is the best in 135? Okay, and I have another question after that.
I think I will go
for
I will go
135.
with Sakur. I mean, Gervonta Davis is up there too. I'm not gonna go with Lomachenko because I think Lomachenko is older now. Like 5 years ago, Lomachenko, then yes. Teofimo has left the division. Haney has left the division, but even if he didn't, he's not the best. I think Sakur. Because Gervonta,
You think Shakur
I
can
don't
beat
think
Tank?
so. I don't think Tank has faced the necessary opposition for me to put him on my number one spot at 135. Now, Sakur hasn't faced a 135 great opposition either, but he has a better fights under his belt, and he seems hungrier in my eyes. And I think the move to Matchroom was a great move for him. I think he's gonna get what Robbie said. He's gonna get more fights. He's gonna get better fights. They have Turkey Al Alsik money behind them, so they're gonna make great stuff with him.
Yeah, I think ideally, I mean, Eddie Hearn obviously wanted to sign Tank as well if he was available.
That would be huge.
But now, I mean, who is Tank with? I mean, that's the fight, isn't it? I think now that he's got behind Shakur, he's just going to be telling. I mean, it wasn't long ago where he was telling everyone how great Tank is, but now he's got Shakur. He's going to start, pushing him. It's funny how that.
He has Haney too, right? Has
I
Haney.
don't know what's.
Haney's a free agent.
I haven't understood what's the deal with Haney. I think they're working on and off. It's what Robbie said. He's a free agent and they're working on and off.
You remember that fight in the backstage with Garcia's dad? That they both flip it in like 30
Oh yeah,
seconds.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that's
You remember that? Garcia, that was motherfucker, and then they start hugging each other
That's
in
boxing
like
in a
30
nutshell.
seconds. Andreas, we said that we'll keep it short and sweet. Robbie, do you want to say something?
No, go ahead. I'll.
I was just about to close the show. Andreas, do you want to say anything about the fight, anything about overtime, anything about
I mean,
sponsors,
we said
whatever you want to
what we
say?
had to say about
And
overtime. I mean, you know, they're new to the game. They're great on what they do. I love how they work. Their show is gonna be August 30th. In 1 week, we will be fighting. 1 week, I don't know.
they're
Yes,
killing
yes,
the
yes.
social media. I can say this for sure, like
It's
non-stop, like
they're
they're
great. They're
taking
great.
over.
They're great. I love the way they're moving, and you know, I want to see what lies ahead of me after this tournament. You know, it's those are exciting times. Those are exciting times for me.
Okay, you have to promise us something though, that after you win, you will come back to the
I told you, you
to our
guys have
online
me every
podcast.
Friday. We can
And
analyze a ton of stuff. See, I have my list over here on the right, so to analyze some stuff for this one.
no, actually, honestly, we spoke about that. That this is the main reason that we started the podcast because we
Yeah.
love talking about boxing and also having you like as a guest every week and analyzing like the. But Robbie, we spoke about that, right? There's not really many things going on at the moment. That's what we feel.
No, I mean I'm happy to hear your list.
Look,
If you want to go
just so I
through
say the list,
some fights.
real quick.
You have
Yeah,
a
but I
list
just wrote a
right
few things
now.
down because I thought this
Dude,
podcast.
you know
You
that
know,
he will take over the podcast. We have no list, no notes. He's like,
Well, this is it. So just before you go through your list, but yeah, the whole point of these Zooms now is to obviously talk to people like yourself just before the fight. So like getting an insight into how you're feeling and stuff. We want to hear from you after your fight, as Tola says, after you win, and then get that kind of, behind the curtain kind of
yeah.
look
that's amazing.
at a
Actually,
fight.
that's really amazing that we can do it, without have to be in present somewhere.
Yeah, I do. I think we could, obviously another time, but yeah, on top of that, we want to hear your opinion on fights and we can talk, yeah, every week. But no, I'm just really interested to just hear about your mindset, like a week or two out from a fight.
You
My
look very
mindset,
relaxed though.
honestly,
And I
yeah,
mean,
it's
I'm not surprised.
a regular day. It's a regular day until no exaggeration. Until the moment I'm in the locker room, slapping my hands, probably the moment I'm walking in the ring, everything regular. Everything is regular. Everything is
Then
regular.
you
The
locked in.
moment I walk in the ring, that's when I lock in. That's when everything changes. Before that, like if you ask me while in Atlanta, while doing the media day, if you ask me, like, are you ready? How do you feel? I'm gonna be like, just a regular day. I'm just waiting for Thursday to
When
win.
did that change? When did that change? For example, I
Yeah.
don't have many fights, right? I used to fight amateur. I have probably 20 fights. But it changed after the seventh, eighth fight that I was start getting even more and more relaxed. When did that
I
change
don't
for
know. I
you?
think in a very young age, just because of my kickboxing background, you know how it is with kickboxing in Greece. We fight every weekend. You go to tournaments. You fight multiple fights in a day. So I had tons of experience because I was fighting point fighting. You
That's
know, like more
experience.
karate style. Younger when I was younger. So with tons of experience, I think it comes naturally. I think in a very young age, I started really being nervous or caring about like knowing that I'm gonna do my work, and if I'm prepared enough, and if I did everything I had to do in camp, I don't care about nothing else.
True. Now it's your
Exactly,
moment. You
exactly.
enjoy
It's time to
that
enjoy.
when you walk in the ring.
What's on
All
the
right, my
list?
brother.
What's on the list?
The list,
Huh?
I mean,
What's on the
look,
list?
the list. I mean, we talked about two,
On
three
the
stuff.
list is it's probably food
Oh,
after the
pizzas.
after the the fight.
It's the Shakur Stevenson with mushroom. Uh, what do you think about Martin Bakole, the guy that beat Jared Anderson?
Let's talk. We
Uh,
spoke about him last week, but like, man, I said to Tolis, I was like, they made a mistake putting
but they didn't.
Anderson in with him. Like, it's easy to say after the fight,
Uh,
but like,
Now
you know,
they're thinking to do Bakole versus Zhang in November, either in China or in Africa.
That's a good one.
Ortiz Bohatsuk, Usyk versus Fury 2 in December got announced. Better BF Bivol is coming. Shakur Cordina. And
From
Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois, September 21st. I mean, I think
I want to know better beer Bivol. What do you
I
think?
think
Better
Bivol.
BF Bivol.
I think if he
Why?
keeps the distance with his straight hands, because he can punch too. It's not like you can just walk through those. Uh, he's gonna get better BF. The thing with better BF though is that
He will outbox
we
him.
can't understand how hard this guy is hitting because he doesn't look like he's hitting that hard,
It's crazy.
but you feel like he can punch through a wall. It's
And the way that he's boxing doesn't look like the
yeah,
age
but that's
affects
an
him.
extra reason I feel Bivol is gonna
Because
get it.
because he's not moving a lot.
He's on the older side. I don't know how old is he, but I think he's on the older side, like old 30s, not young 30s.
Does he has the stoppage in early rounds in all of the 20
Who,
fights?
BF?
Better BF?
I don't think necessarily.
Yes.
I think anytime he catches you, he can put you down, and I think he changes power.
No, but so
I know,
far in the
but
20 fights,
that's what I'm saying.
they
I
are
don't think
most
necessarily. I think maybe even the later rounds. I haven't really seen all of his fights to know.
Fury Usyk
I got to
too.
go again with the Ukrainian. I think I got to go again with Usyk.
Wait, what were you in the first
I
fight
thought
though?
Fury would win. I thought Fury would win. I really like the fact that Usyk won because I don't know. I like both of them, but Usyk is such a nice character, such a nice guy, such a good ambassador for the sport, humble, funny. So I really enjoyed him winning this fight. But I had Fury winning, to be honest, and I had him winning. I thought it would be easy too.
Easy.
Like I was wrong. I was wrong.
That's what I thought too. I think that he just underestimated him because in the like 3, 4, 5 round, Fury was taking over and it looked like he's gonna walk through Usyk, but he underestimated him, I think, and then he
Yeah.
got caught with that
Which
left hook.
I could never see that coming.
Change.
I could never see that coming.
But this is the thing. Like, if you just see the two punches Fury threw just before Usyk connected with that, like they had nothing behind them. He just tapped him, and the moment you do that to Usyk, like
Yeah.
you have to keep that pressure on him. You have to like gain that respect. And he got complacent and just did like a little couple of taps, and that opened the door for Usyk just to
Yeah, I think
rock him with it.
He
He
was
won't do
playing
that
too
again
much.
in the
He
next
was
fight.
playing too much.
You know what would be great if we have Sheed and Andreas, the same podcast. How many people can we do?
I wouldn't have to be there. I'd just sit back. I wouldn't say a word.
Did you see any
I've
clip
seen
with
the clips,
Sheed
but
that
to
we
be honest,
did,
I haven't seen
Andreas?
the full thing yet. Although I should have because you told me it's one of the best podcasts you guys had. So I have plenty
yeah,
of time
he's very, very
when we
good, bro.
close
He's
this
very good.
podcast.
No, but actually, how many people can we do in a podcast?
Probably yes.
As many as
That's
you
what I was
want.
about to say.
Actually, that's fun, right? I think it's fun if we have like the right people. Then we I don't know, like, or it's gonna be too much. Like everybody will start
It's
talking.
gonna be a party podcast.
TK, in the jungle. How you say that? Rumble in the jungle.
Rumble in the jungle. Did you guys see the full undercard though on the
Yes.
Bivol fight? Like obviously Cordina and Shakur, but I don't know if you have interest in Chris Eubank Jr., Jai Apatow,
Yeah, that's
the
gonna be
New
fun.
Zealander. He's
You
fucking
got
awesome,
also
that guy.
the other heavyweights. Just to pull it up, Wardley versus Clark. That's gonna be fun.
Oh, Wardley Clark
Ben
too.
Whittaker.
Yeah, the first one.
Huge.
Ben Whittaker and British
Huge
Olympic
prospect.
star.
I think
Yeah.
like there are fights like Jack Macy, the opponent of Jai Opetai. I've never seen him. I've never heard of him. Fabio Wardley versus Fraser Clark. I know both of them. I think it's gonna be a fun heavyweight fight. Again, Whittaker's opponent. I've never heard of him. So I think those fights are gonna be probably more one-sided, but they're gonna put on a show.
Yeah, Whittaker's still
Yes.
in that building phase, like building his profile, for which he has like he's
yeah.
a real character. I think he's gonna sell a lot
Yeah.
of tickets if he keeps winning. Wardley Clark, if you have a chance, watch the first one because Wardley is a white collar fighter. Like he had no amateur experience. He just did white collar fights. Fraser Clark is an Olympic medalist. And they had this like he's a little bit older though, Fraser Clark. He turned professional like later. He went to the Olympics quite late. But their first one was
Nice.
a banger. Like it was a draw. So and they just basically fucked each other up. So this second one's going to
It's
be
gotta
great.
be fun.
I think Apetaya, this guy, in the
Yes.
wait, he's cruiserweight, right? This cruiserweight, like the heavyweight, takes all the
Yeah,
attention.
That's how it always was.
Right?
I think that's why Usyk moved to heavyweight too, because heavyweight.
Fucking like cruiserweights are big dudes, still
Yeah.
big guys, but nobody cares, right?
Yeah,
Nobody
now they
cares.
have
Oh,
Bridger weight.
we don't even. I
No
don't even
one's-
want to
no
talk
one
about
pays any
that.
attention.
What is that? What's the
220.
weight?
Ooh.
220?
220
200,
pounds.
220?
I could
So,
make Bridger
so
weight.
if somebody weighs 210, cannot
I
fight in
think
heavyweight?
not right now. I don't know how it works, to be honest. I think it's only WBC has Bridgerweight belt right now, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. They want to make some extra commissions.
Ricky Hatton,
Every time he
Your
asks about
favorite?
Ricky
favorite.
Yeah, legend.
It was my favorite. We'll mention him in every podcast. Somehow, Tolis gets
What
Ricky
would that be
Hatton
doing?
into the podcast.
I mean, he has to. We need to mention his name in every podcast, bro.
I mean, I
He's
saw
amazing.
fairly recently when I think Matchroom uploaded a post when Ricky Hatton faced with Floyd Mayweather. The arena in Vegas, it was like being in London. It was full of British people,
Yeah.
which is amazing. I mean, Hatton had a huge following.
Maybe he was the last fighter boxer that he had such a big
No.
British following, right?
You think so?
Not even Lennox Lewis had like such a
Carl,
big
Carl,
following.
Carl
Carl
Froch
Froch yeah.
had a big. He never fought Calzaghe, which is a fight that we'd have loved to see. But he had a big following. But no, Ricky Hatton, he had that Manchester football following. No one is kind of. I mean, Anthony Joshua is big, but he hasn't fought in Vegas. Hatton would bring 20,000 people over for
That's
Vegas.
insane.
They wouldn't even be in the stadium. They would just be in Vegas.
And then he would drink beer with them outside after the fight.
Amazing
Yeah.
character.
Well, when 20,000 Greeks going to come over and
I don't know, we're gonna
support,
find
that
out.
would be
I
fun.
think
If you pay them the tickets,
the easiest bet to say that we will have like a huge Greek crowd in the future probably would be New York, Madison Square Garden. I mean, if it's not New York, I don't know where.
Yeah, well, overtime, surely, with touch wood, you in the final, and depending on who the other person is, surely then they choose the location to fit in with your
Yeah,
fan
I mean,
bases, right?
I think
how
overtime on their own, they're doing such a great thing, promoting their own brand too. So like we're having an overtime show, so we want to see the overtime boxing show, which is something new for boxing. They have their own following, they have their own fans. Probably they're making substantial amounts of money from sponsors and from TV deals. So I don't know still how much they would pay attention to how big of a crowd they can bring in, because we are
Okay.
getting there in terms of like athletes. Like if I talk for myself, I'm getting there in terms of like I can in Houston I can feel like a nice small arena, but we're not in a phase, not even close. I mean, we have to be realistic and we have to be honest. On feeling a 20,000 seat stadium,
Yeah.
not even close.
Well, look, even, we spoke about Matchroom and Eddie Hearn. They use that tactic of like, and this is what I think he does so well is, like, we've seen it with Boots Ennis. He signs a fighter and he takes them back to like where they're from. So I think it was Philly they went to. And Shakur, someone with another promoter, I saw Shakur in Atlanta actually against Jarrell Herring. But you start them
Yeah.
where they're from and you build that like
Yeah.
fan base from there, and then you take them to other places. Like, there's nothing wrong with starting small where you know you're going to have a good support. You don't have to fill out 20,000 stadiums. It's a nice small arena where the atmosphere is good. I think that's what Matchroom do so well.
Both Matchroom and Top Rank, they're great at building fighters, and Overtime right now is new to the game, and I think they're doing as good, if not better, because of the whole social media situation too.
Yeah. Well, we can piggyback on that as well, right, Tony?
Just a little bit.
no,
we,
we'll
need,
do
we,
it
need
very
some
often.
we need some new followers.
Andreas,
for
thank you so
having me,
much,
guys.
brother. Good luck, and we see you.
Thank
We see
so
you after
much.
your win.
Great conversation.
Yeah, good
Thank you guys.
luck,
Thank you.
Andreas.
Bye.